Hello, class. We are excited to share our group cultural presentation on the country of Suriname. Our team includes Daniela, Malayah, Rebecca, Blake, Fiona, and Marianna. This presentation is for HOS 297 Food and Culture, taught by Professor Eve Little. In this presentation, we'll explore how culture and food have influenced each other over time by shaping traditions, celebrations, and daily life. Look at how food patterns spread across cultures, and and also how food is connected to the people, music, art, dance, and fashion, forming the heart of cultural identity. Let's start with a few fun facts about Suriname. Located in South America, it has a population of around 646,000 people as of 2024, and the capital city is Paramaribo. Now, my name is Fiona Battles, and I am going to present in what ways have food and culture shaped Suriname throughout history. Let's start with indigenous influence. Before colonization, Suriname was home to indigenous peoples such as the Arawak and Carib, and their languages are still spoken in some communities today. These indigenous groups influence local traditions with staples like cassava, fish, pineapple, papaya, corn, and beans. Language and Dutch colonial influence. Suriname's colonial history also plays a major role. The Dutch ruled Suriname for centuries, and as a result, Dutch became the official language for government, schools, and the media. However, many locals speak Sranan, Tongo, Javanese, and indigenous languages as their first language. While Dutch is often a second or third language, it is still essential for formal communication and education. Asian influence. After slavery was abolished, indentured workers arrived from India, Indonesia, and China. This wave of migration between 1873 and 1939 shaped Suriname's religions, food, and language. Surinamese Hindus celebrate Diwali and Holi, and Indo-Surinamese cuisine includes roti, curry, spring rolls, chow mein, and nasi goreng. African slave trade and Maroon influence. The African slave trade also deeply impacted Suriname's identity. The descendants of escaped enslaved Africans, which are called the Maroons, preserved unique languages and food traditions. Suriname Tongo, a Creole language, evolved during colonial times and is still widely spoken today. Food and identity. Today, Suriname is a true melting pot of cultures. Its modern cuisine blends influences from many communities, whether during public celebrations like Keti Koti, marking the end of slavery, to religious festivals like Diwali, Eid, Easter, and Christmas. Food brings people together. Now let's hear from Marianna on how culture has influenced food patterns.
How the culture influenced food patterns inside and outside their culture. The foundation of Surinamese cuisine comes from its indigenous peoples, especially the Arawak and Carib. They relied on what the rainforests and rivers provided: cassava, fish, guava, pineapple, corn, beans, and wild game. Traditional dishes like cassava bread and kasiri, a fermented cassava drink, are still made today. Indigenous peoples, such as the Trio, Wayana, and Ukurio, continue to use local plants and animals in their cooking. Meals are often cooked over open fires, smoked or steamed in leaves, and food is shared communally, with techniques passed down through generations. With Dutch colonization, new foods like bread, pastries, cheese, and dairy entered the diet. These influences mix with local ingredients and indigenous techniques to create fusion dishes, one of the most famous being pom. Pom is made from pom tajir, a root vegetable, and marinated chicken, layered and baked. It reflects a blend of cultures. It has Jewish origins from potato kugel, African flavors through citrus and salted meats, and indigenous roots in its use of pom tajir. The African influence came through transatlantic slave trade, bringing ingredients like plantains, okra, palm oil, and rice. African traditions introduced self-sufficient farming and communal food sharing, which are still important today. The celebration of Keti Koti, marking the end of slavery, features dishes like moksi alasi, palm, and cassava-based meals. From 1873 to 1939, Asian contract workers from Java, India, and China arrived in Suriname. They brought spices, soy sauces, noodles, and rice dishes. Indo-Surinamese foods include roti, curry, and samosas. Javanese communities contributed nasi goreng, bami, and satay, while Chinese immigrants added spring rolls and stir fry. In the end, Surinamese food is a rich blend of indigenous, African, European, and Asian influences. It reflects a shared culture centered on community and identity. Traditions like samaka, the Maroon practice of sharing food, and the Surinamese rice table, influenced by the Dutch and Indonesian customs, show how food in Suriname brings people and cultures together on one plate.
Hello, everyone. My name is Blake, and I'll be doing the social justice issues for Suriname. The first issue I have is the indigenous and maroon rights. The indigenous and maroon communities are dependents from enslaved Africans communities, and they have faced land rights disputes and lack of political representation and environmental threats from mining and deforestation. Some of the changes for that one is in recent years, they've had legal battles for land representation and trying to get the land back for these people. However, mining, especially the illegal gold mining, continues to threaten their way of life. Second one is corruption and political issues. Corruption has been a very common problem with political leaders accused of mismanagement, fraud, and human rights violations. The third environmental issue is environmental justice. Illegal gold mining has led to deforestation, pollution, and mercury poisoning in the rivers, and it's affecting all the people there, and it's just not good. They need to get it out of there. Um, the government has tried to regulate the mining and everything that's gone on there, but it still continues. Um, the last issue I have is gender equality and domestic violence issues. Women in Suriname face domestic violence and are very limited to, in any opportunities in certain industries there. And some of the changes that they made is the government has made policies to reduce gender-based violence, including shelters and support programs. But women's participation in politics is increasing, but the challenges still remain.
Hello, my name is Rebecca, and today I'm speaking about the connection between equity and accessibility of food for select cultural groups. It is important to understand the colonial legacy and land ownership, the economic disparities in food access, cultural groups and their access to traditional foods, government and community efforts to improve food equity. Indigenous population were displaced from fertile lands, affecting their ability to grow their own food. African Maroons who escaped slavery and formed their own communities often live in remote areas where the access to markets and food supplies were difficult. Indo-Suriname and Javanese indentured laborers were given small plots for subsistence farming. Urban versus rural. Urban, in Paramaribo, Suriname, accessing food is generally easy due to the presence of supermarkets, markets, and various restaurants, offering a diverse range of cuisines. When it comes to rural, in Suriname, rural and interior regions heavily depends on subsistence farming, traditional hunting, and fishing for food. In conclusion, in Suriname, food accessibility is deeply shaped by its colonial history and ongoing socioeconomic challenges. The legacy of slavery, indentured labor, and unequal land ownership created structural barriers that still affect indigenous, Indo-Surinamese, and Javanese communities today. Combined with poverty, climate change, and a reliance on imported food, many rural and marginalized populations continue to face food insecurity. Addressing these issues requires supporting local agriculture, strengthening food sovereignty, and investing in community-based solutions that reflects Suriname's cultural and historical context.
Hi, my name is Malayah, and I'll be presenting on the people, fashion, and art of Suriname. For the people, the population consists of around 646,658 people. It primarily consists of East Asians that migrated from northern India in the 19th century. Next major population is the Maroon. Their African ancestors brought them to Suriname in the 17th and 18th centuries as slaves. The primary language is Dutch, and the official language is also Dutch. Many people in Suriname also speak English, but they have their own language. Suriname is also known as Taki-Taki. Primarily regional religions include Protestant, Roman Catholic, Hindu, and Muslim. Population is mostly Creole, which is a mix between African and European descent. The country currently has a low fertility rate and increasing life expectancy. People in rural areas of the country experience malnutrition, low education, and limited access to education and healthcare due to transportation and funding. Fashion. The Maroon traditional dress is also a major traditional item worn. It is known as a kurumisi, and it features bright head wraps known as ankara. It symbolizes social status. It is made with colorful fabrics and bold prints and is worn on special occasions. They also wear handmade jewelry that is worn during traditional events and is made with gold, silver, beads, seeds, and shells. And gisa is another head wrap or covering that is worn during these traditional events. Now for modern fashion. Urban fashion gained popularity among the youth with hip hop and trendy styles that influenced them. A lot of their fashion stems from global fashion trends, primarily from the Western countries. Sportswear and casual streetwear are super popular. Reggae and dancehall music also influences fashion choices and are often paired with graphic prints, colorful dashiki, and traditional Jamaican clothing. Now for the art. The vibrant art styles feature many different colors. Art styles are a blend of African, indigenous, and European style due to their influence on the country of Suriname. Famous painter Erwin de Vries painted this picture on the right, which captures the energy and diversity of Surinamese life with expressive forms and vivid palettes. Another major art form is weaving and embroidery. A draw loom is one of the major techniques used for embroidering and is used for patterns and different fabrics. Now I'll hand it off to Daniela to start hers.
Hello, my name is Daniela, and I'll be digging a little bit deeper into food, beverages, music, and dance. To begin, we have foods. Due to its location, which is coastal, Suriname is best known for its fruit and seafood. They're also known for using cassava potatoes, sweet potatoes, lentils, plantains, and tailleur, which is previously mentioned in the presentation. Also previously mentioned is the pommes tailleur dish. This dish is basically a dish that includes chicken and shredded tailleur root. It is often served at celebrations using a grilled flatbread that is originally from Indonesia. Now, to include more foods, we also have the heri heri. This dish right here to the far left includes cassava, green banana, sweet potatoes, and eggs. These ingredients are all boiled and placed on a dish together. And of course, we had to include a dessert. A dessert that I found is a Surinamese cake, which is made from grated cassava and coconut. And of course, we also have to include beverages. We have alcoholic and non-alcoholic beverages. To begin with the alcoholic beverages, we have the Bordeaux and Morenberg. These are both very popular brands of rum. And interestingly enough, Suriname produces some of the finest rums. We also have the Cassiti, which is a more traditional, more homemade alcoholic beverage, which is this drink right here in the pink drink in the little bowl. And this drink is made from fermented cassava. Now for music, we have it was really difficult to only choose two different ones, but these were two of the ones that I was able to find that were one of the most popular. We have the kawina, which is a type of Creole folk music that is related to Winti, and it mostly includes drums and singing. For dances, we have the Creole dances, which are heavily influenced by African and European cultures, brought to the country during the colonial era. We also have the Maroon dance, which is rooted in African heritage, the Hindustani dance, which express the vibrant and diversity in cultural traditions of India. We have the Javanese dance, which focuses on the cultural traditions of Java, which is an island in Indonesia. We also have the Chinese dance, which is influenced by the local Surinamese culture, resulting in the fusion of both Chinese and Surinamese elements. Last but not least, we have the Dabkit dance, which is a Lebanese community dance. Right here to the right, we have a short clip of that Creole dance that is mentioned first on this list.
Suriname may be small, but it's rich in culture and history. Indigenous groups, African Maroons, and Asian and European settlers have all shaped its vibrant food and traditions. Dishes like pom, roti, and moxialesi reflect this mix, bringing people together during celebrations like Kedikoti and Diwali. While colonization left lasting inequalities, especially in rural areas, Suriname is working to preserve its heritage through festivals, food, and community. It's a place where every bite tells a story.